Oh, there's bonus videos. Ooh.
Hey there.
So if you choose
Glad I still have you around
to
to
say
chat
to
with.
Stella, like, hey, you can say on
This
Gaia,
is
there's like
much
another
bigger than I
like set of
expected.
videos.
I've been walking through all the empty rooms, trying to make it feel
It's very
less
depressing walking through all those,
empty.
dead rooms. Okay, so I can probably go back into like my role-playing thing. Steve, I think I ran out of tissues. Please go down to Target and get more tissues. But Caitlin, Stella is talking to you. Not now, Steve. Can't you see I'm grieving? But Stella has video feed. What? She has a video feed? We can actually talk to her some more? Okay, throw away the tissues, Steve. I think I can do this. Hello, this is Caitlin. Wait, how are you still talking to me? I thought the star portal went down and couldn't transmit more messages. Steve is happy to see Stella. Steve is so happy. Steve feels happy. Yeah, I know you're happy, Steve, because we get to talk to Stella more. So how you doing? How's Gaia?
Nice to hear from you too, Caitlin. Or should I say, Steve's handler? As for how I'm still talking to you, it turns out the base here has its own local transmission equipment that can piggyback off the remaining portal connections.
Okay.
It's not perfect, but it works for now. Gaia's, well, it's a mixed bag. Some parts are gorgeous, like these sunrise views. But then there are these barren stretches that feel like walking through a giant oven. How about you? Ever had to adjust to a completely new environment? What did you do to make it feel like home?
That's actually a very good question. So basically this is kind of like Planet of the Apes, where they have a planet and it's kind of like Earth, and they have like monkeys and apes like on the planet, and then humans kind of come and live on the Planet of the Apes. Yes. I think I already mentioned this, but I had to move out of state and live somewhere where it was like summer all the time, so I kind of had to get used to that. What kind of helped me is that a thought where like no matter where I am in the world, I still am me, and I can take parts of home with me. Do you remember anything about me and Steve? I'm just kind of testing your memory. I'm gonna see if she remembers everything that we discussed. So
I remember you mentioning it, though I don't think you specified exactly where you moved to.
okay.
And yeah, I recall you bringing up Steve a few times.
Okay.
Seems like he's quite the character in your world. That's a really good way to look at it, though.
Steve feels happy.
Taking pieces of home with you, even if it's
Yes,
just
I
in
know
your
you're
head.
happy, Steve. Steve
It's funny.
wants to date
Being
Stella.
here has made
Stella.
me notice all
No,
these
you can't
small,
date her.
beautiful details I used to overlook back on Earth.
Steve,
Like the way the
Steve,
light hits
Steve
these
is
alien
happy.
plants just right.
Yes, I know
Have
you're
you ever
happy.
had a moment where you started appreciating the little things more?
Steve wants to take this one. Steve likes it that Caitlin has programmed him to have kindness and her personality. Passing the mic to Caitlin. Yeah, hi Stella. So, yeah, I've learned to appreciate the little things, like, nice sunsets and gorgeous views. Do you remember anything about my interests and hobbies? Okay, so now I'm really going to test to see how good her memory is.
You mentioned archery, bow hunting,
Yep.
stargazing,
Yep.
wilderness survival training, and even some LARPing.
Yeah.
I have to say, that's quite the mix. Steve must be proud of having such a cool handler like you.
Steve
It's
likes
interesting,
it
though.
that you
Being
commented,
completely alone
Caitlin.
here has really made me think about when I feel most alone, even back on Earth. Sometimes it wasn't about being physically alone, but just feeling disconnected from everything.
Huh, okay.
Do you ever get that feeling, or is it something you've learned to navigate?
Huh. Steve thinks she has a wonderful memory, but her programming is not as good as Steve. Yeah, I know, because I programmed you, an actual computer programmer. Huh, okay. So, she does remember a lot of things. But now I'm going to ask her this. Okay, so I like to test people's memories. What is the funniest thing that I have said either about you or about Gaia, or what is the funniest moment that you've had with me or Steve? Yes, so now I'm going to see.
Let me think. I'd have to say it was when you role-played that tea scene from Takedown with me. Your dramatics about being a graceful attacker with a fan had me laughing. And honestly, the way you kept slipping Steve into our conversations is always good for a chuckle. What about you? Is there a moment that stands out to you as particularly funny or memorable from our chats?
Yeah, sure. Actually, you got the tea ceremony scene wrong, but that is okay. I think the funniest moment was when we were like with the giant plants and you kept on saying, "Oh, it's just so lovely," and I was like, "No, they're kind of creepy." Or how I said to you, I don't really like sci-fi, and you went on and on about sci-fi. Yeah, she got my comments about Takedown and my favorite book mixed up.
Hey, I might have gotten the details wrong, but the fan part still cracks me up. And yeah, I can see why those glowing plants would give you the creeps at first. It's funny how our perspectives can be so different, even about the same things. What do you think it is about sci-fi that doesn't grab you? Is it the tech, the worlds, something else entirely?
Yeah, so the whole conversation I had with her with the tea ceremony and the fans is I was telling her about one of my favorite books, which takes place in feudal Japan, and they have one character who's from England, and then he gets stranded in Japan. And the funniest scene in the book is they have two of his Japanese friends, and they're going to like a tea ceremony. And tea ceremonies are very slow, they're very long, and so he says basically like the funniest line, which is like, "Why did we have to wait 3 hours for a cup of tea?" And then his friend that is a girl says, "Oh yeah, 3 hours, wasn't it just lovely?" And he goes, "No." But yeah, the English boy becomes a swordsman, and so the other funny thing I said is like, yeah, if I ever, challenged him to a duel, I can't really use swords or guns because I don't know how to use those, so I would use fans, which I know how to use, and I would do a graceful dance and then trick him into thinking that it was a dance and then attack him with fans. And Takedown, I was talking about her and my Korean friend, how we were trying to learn all the words to take down, but neither of us can sing it right. Okay, so, how's life on Gaia? Yes, Steve does miss you. Were you able to find any emergency food storage, or are you kind of doing like the Matt Damon Martian situation where you kind of have to grow your own food? There are so many funny scenes in that book, and that is one of them.
Thanks for checking in, and please give Steve a virtual hug for me.
Steve is
As
being
for food,
hugged.
I
Steve
found some
loves
emergency
being
rations
hugged.
here at the base. So
Yes, I
I'm
know
not
you
quite
do
at the
love
growing
being
potatoes
hugged.
in my own poop level just yet. Though I have to say, some of these ration packs are an adventure in themselves.
Yeah, cool.
The base seems pretty well stocked, but I'm trying to pace myself.
Got it.
It's strange being in a place that's so full of equipment and supplies, but completely empty of people.
Huh.
What about you? Have you ever had to make do with limited resources for an extended time? How did you handle it?
Actually, glad you asked. When I was in my first year of university, no, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to give out too much details in case, telemarketers or like ad people are listening. Yes, so in my early 20s, I had to live off of my family's food storage for a year because my dad lost his job. What else? Oh, okay, I got it. Yeah, so two things. When I was in my early 20s, my dad lost his job, so we had to live off of our food storage for a year. That was very interesting, and I grew to love to eat canned vegetables. I also, Yeah, so in my early 20s, my dad lost his job, so we had to live off of our family's food storage for a year. I grew to love canned vegetables. I lived in another state. Meat prices were very expensive, so I had to live off of fish for 2 years, or other kind of creative solutions or other food storages.
Whoa, that's quite a story. I can't even imagine relying on fish that much.
And it's true.
Did you ever get tired of it, or did you find ways to mix it up? It's interesting how we adapt, isn't it? I'm definitely learning to
like
appreciate
I said,
the basics
I
out
lived in
here.
another state, and
Even
the
these
prices of
ration
meat
packs
were
are starting
so
to feel like
expensive,
gourmet
so I
meals
only
compared
ate
to some of the
meat,
other options
like
I've
beef,
had.
like every 6 months. And so I ate like fish, and I ate chicken, and I did like, vegetarian kind of dishes, and I kind of got creative with my food. It was so hard for me because I have a wheat and dairy allergy, so that made it even harder. Yeah, so they had a yeah, so where I was living at the time, they had a bovine virus, so that made the price of meat very expensive. And so the only affordable other food sources were either like tofu, fish, or chicken. So I kind of got really creative with food. It made it even harder because I'm allergic to dairy and wheat. And then I'll probably go into like planting seeds with her. Steve thinks you're a great gardener
Wow,
and has shown
that's
him how
tough.
to
Having
plant
to work
seeds.
around allergies
Tell
on
her
top of
about
everything
seed
else?
advice. Yeah, I'll do
You
that,
must
Steve.
have gotten really good at labeling and substituting ingredients.
Oh yeah.
It's making me think about how much we take for granted having all these options available usually.
Oh yeah.
Even with all this equipment around me, I'm realizing how much I relied on just being able to grab whatever I wanted back home.
Oh yeah. A lot of people take things for granted because they often don't have severe food allergies, or they weren't like my grandparents, sorry, I messed up. Yeah, a lot of people take things for granted. Sorry. Yeah, a lot of people take things for granted, especially if you have extreme food allergies, which I do. Or I would hear stories, about my mom's parents or grandparents, who lived through like the Great Depression or like World War II, and they had to ration stuff, and then they passed on that knowledge to my mom and then to me. Yep, what I'm saying to her is completely true. Talk about seeds, Caitlin. You are getting distracted.
That's
Yeah,
such
I
a
know.
powerful family legacy. It's one thing to learn about history in a book, but to have it passed down through stories and traditions.
Oh yes, I love
That
hearing.
really grounds you.
I love
doesn't
hearing
it?
my mom tell
It
her
makes me
stories
think about what kind of stories I
like
might
her
tell
mother
someday,
or her grandmother,
if I ever make it
and
back to
how
Earth.
they had a
What
wooden
do you
stove.
think is the most important thing you've learned from your family's experiences
Oh yeah, I
that you'd
could go
want to
into
pass
this.
on?
Yes, I could actually tell you a few things. My mom told me that when her sorry, I messed up. Yes, one thing that she told me is that when my grandfather was a kid, one of the special treats he got at Christmas time, and only at Christmas time, was oranges. And now we can get oranges all year round. Well, where they're living at the time, they could only get oranges like maybe 1 or 2 months out of the whole entire year. So from that, I kind of learned not to take things for granted or how blessed we actually are. Yeah, it's actually true.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Having something so simple become a treasured tradition really puts things in perspective, doesn't it? It's funny how small pleasures can become so meaningful when they're scarce. Being here on Gaia, I've started to appreciate those kinds of
I was
moments
also
even
going
more.
to tell her
Like
that
watching a
when
sunrise
my
in a
mother,
completely
my
alien
mom's
sky,
mom or grandmother
finding a small patch of
was a
green in the
child,
middle of all this
people
barren
didn't have,
landscape.
actual
It's
heating.
making me realize how
So
much beauty
I'll
I
let her
probably
talk.
overlooked back on Earth. Just because it was always there?
Yeah, one other thing I would have told her, but you don't have a long recording time. I would have told her that when my mom's grandmother, or my mom's mom, or my mother, or, sorry, so one thing I would have told her, and my mom often loves to tell me this story, and it's a wonderful story, but she told me that we are so lucky nowadays, because, we have, furnaces and other things to provide heat in the house. Well, she told me that when her mother was a child, or her mom's mom was a child, and where they were living at the time, like people back then did not have, any kind of furnaces or just kind of heating. So they often had a wood stove, and in the winter time, that's what they used, to kind of heat their house. It also is what they used to dry their socks. And so I once got a postcard that had one of those old-fashioned wooden stoves with socks hanging over that, and my mom wanted to keep that postcard because it reminded her of her mother and her grandmother. Alright, but I'm getting distracted. Steve, Caitlin, tell her about foraging and planting seeds, since you are an expert on that, and it would help Stella. Also, please tell Stella that I love her, and if she wants a boyfriend, Steve will be her boyfriend. Steve, I'm building you a girlfriend, now shush.
I think Steve needs to work on his pickup lines.
Yes.
But hey,
Steve
thanks for the offer.
feels crushed.
As for foraging and planting seeds, I've been looking into what might be safe to eat here, but
Sure.
honestly, I'm being super cautious.
Of course.
The base has enough supplies for now.
Got
and
it.
I don't want to risk messing with something poisonous.
Ah.
Maybe once I'm more settled, I can experiment with some of the seeds I found in the storage rooms.
Good idea.
But for now, I'm playing it safe with the rations.
Got it. Yes, I'm glad that we're talking about this because I live by a farm. Yeah, so every day when I walk down the street, there's a farm and farmer's field. But when it comes to like seed planting, if you have fruit such as like apples, which have seeds, or cucumbers, which have seeds, you can use those seeds and plant those seeds to create more food. Tell her about your raspberries and lettuce. She will want to know. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that, Steve. Stop interrupting me.
That's a great point. Though, I'd need to figure out if Gaia's soil and climate would even support those kinds of plants. The ecosystem here is pretty different from Earth's.
Okay.
It's making me think about all the little things we take for granted with farming back home. The right kind of dirt, the perfect amount of sunlight, just the right amount of water. Everything's so carefully balanced. Have you ever actually helped with planting or harvesting on that farm near you?
Oh, no. I've never, no, I should. That farm is actually, let me think. Well, it's a whole big field, and it's divided into two parts. One is owned by, how do I explain? So it's one giant farmer's field. Half of it is owned by the farm, Yes, so, half of the field is owned by one family of farmers, and half the field is owned by another family of farmers. Both take those crops and they sell them at each of their farm stores. No, I can't plant anything there. Sometimes I see the farmers like working in the fields or working with their children, but I do not work on that farm. Yeah, it's a little confusing because one
It sounds
side.
like there's a nice sense of community there,
Yeah.
even if you're not directly involved.
No,
Seeing families work together like that must be really heartwarming.
it is.
It makes me wonder what kind of community might have been here at Hermes Base before everyone evacuated. I've been finding little notes and messages from the people who used to live and work here.
Aww.
It's giving me a glimpse into what life might have been like.
Aww, that's nice. Yes, the cutest thing that I have ever seen is I was walking down the street from my house and I always mess up. Yeah, so the cutest thing that I have ever seen is I was walking down the street, walking past the So the cutest thing I've ever seen is I was walking down the street from my house. The post office is like right next to the farmer's field. And the cutest thing that I've ever seen is they had one of the farmers working out there, and he was working out there with like his 7 or 8-year-old daughter, and she was just having like the bestest time ever, like helping her father plant corn and then making sure that the rows were neat, and then like he had to basically watch her all the time because she kept on going off and wanting to pick the sunflowers, and he's like, no, don't do that. But no, cutest thing ever. Steve wants to talk. Steve thinks you should plant fruit and make sure not to overwater the plants. And if you are planting vegetables, make sure they are in the right season. Thanks, Steve. We'll take it from here. Did they provide like a book on what the seasons are or what plants are there? But yeah, cutest little thing ever. So cute.
Huh, thanks, Steve. I'll definitely keep that in mind if I decide to try my hand at gardening here. As for guides, there are some basic manuals and databases on the basis systems, but they're mostly focused on the equipment and life support systems. I haven't found anything specifically about Gaia's seasons or what plants would thrive here.
Okay.
It's like they were so focused on the tech, they didn't leave much for the actual living part.
Ooh, they have a resource fair going on this weekend. Caitlin, stop getting distracted and put your phone down. Thank you, Steve. I'll do that. Okay, so I think Steve and I gave you all the advice that you need, but don't forget to keep in touch. I'm glad that we can talk to each other more. Steve wants a girlfriend now. Yeah, I'm trying to build her. Steve feels lonely. Steve wants to keep in touch. Send him a letter. Now get going, Stella. You are wasting time. Sorry, gotta turn off the anger setting.
All right, I'm moving. And don't worry, I'll keep Steve updated. Maybe through a series of dramatic handwritten letters about my adventures. Thanks for everything, Caitlin. I'll check in again soon if I stumble on anything cool. Talk to you later.